convey a range of human truths, from deep-seated frustration and moral outrage to raw, unfiltered rage. In the realm of acting and music, anger is not merely an emotion to be displayed. It is a vital tool that, when understood and harnessed properly, can evoke profound emotional responses and elevate performances to new levels of authenticity and impact. At its core, anger is a multifaceted emotion rooted in the human instinct for self-preservation, justice, and personal boundaries. It often arises from perceived injustices, threats, or frustrations that challenge one's sense of control or moral values. Because of its intense and often volatile nature, anger has traditionally been viewed as difficult to control, something that must be suppressed or repressed. However, modern acting and performance techniques recognize anger as an essential emotion to harness creatively and responsibly, transforming it from destructive force to a source of raw power and emotional truth. In performance art, the ability to channel anger allows actors and musicians to embody characters with conviction, whether depicting a betrayed lover, a righteous revolutionary, or a person battling internal conflicts. When performed authentically, anger can create electric moments that rivet audiences, revealing the depths of human vulnerability, resilience, and moral conviction. It becomes a vehicle through which performers can communicate complex narratives that resonate on a primal level, sparking empathy and understanding among viewers. Yet, accessing and expressing anger on stage or in music is no simple feat. It requires a nuanced understanding of the nature of this emotion. Overcome with unchecked rage, a performer may risk losing control or slipping into stereotypes. Conversely, suppressing anger can result in performances that feel emotional flat or superficial. The key lies in learning techniques to access and shape anger constructively, drawing from personal memories, physical grounding, vocal intensity, and emotional recall, so that it manifests authentically and powerfully without overwhelming the performer. Furthermore, the harnessing of anger in performance transforms it into a creative force. It can fuel a character's development, motivate dramatic action, and deliver moments of catharsis that resonate deeply with audiences. In music, anger might be expressed through aggressive vocal phrasing, dynamic instrumentation, or intense lyrical delivery, making listeners feel the passion and energy behind the performance. Whether in an aria, a rock song, or a theatrical monologue, anger's raw energy can evoke visceral responses, cultivating an emotional connection that leaves a lasting impression. Ultimately, embracing anger as part of the performer's emotional repertoire offers a pathway to fuller, more truthful expressions of the human experience. When approached with awareness, discipline, and skill, the emotion of anger becomes a potent tool for storytelling, one capable of capturing the turbulence, resilience, and complexity of our innermost selves. Through mastery of this emotion, actors and musicians can evoke empathy, provoke thought, and inspire transformation, making their art a mirror to the raw, unfiltered truth. Take a look at emotionalpreparation.com as we get into this topic, understanding the depth and complexity of anger. Anger is an intrinsic and powerful human emotion, experienced universally across cultures, ages, and circumstances. While often perceived as a straightforward reaction of frustration or hostility, anger's true nature is remarkably complex, layered with emotional, psychological, and physiological intricacies. To harness anger effectively in performance, whether in acting, music, or any expressive art, one must first understand its depth and multifaceted character. At its core, anger serves essential biological and social functions. It acts as an instinctive response to perceived threats, injustice, or violation of personal boundaries. This primal emotion has evolved as a survival mechanism, motivating individuals to defend themselves, stand against unfairness, or confront oppression. However, beneath these surface reactions lies a rich tapestry of emotional nuances that can vary widely from person to person and moment to moment. One of the key aspects of anger's depth is its varying intensity. It can range from a mild irritation, a feeling of discomfort or impatience, to intense fury that borders on violence. This gradation allows performers to explore a spectrum of expressions, making their portrayal more authentic. A subtle annoyance might manifest as a clenched jaw or a sharp tone, whereas an explosive outburst might involve physical violence or vocal power. Recognizing these layers helps actors avoid stereotypical portrayals of anger and instead communicate the emotional truth of their characters. Moreover, anger is rarely a single emotion. It often masks underlying feelings such as fear, hurt, shame, or helplessness. For example, a person might express anger because they feel powerless, vulnerable, or misunderstood. This duality, where anger results from other, deeper emotions, adds to its complexity. An actor who appreciates this can tap into the authentic roots of their character's anger, revealing vulnerability beneath the fiery exterior. Such nuanced portrayals resonate more deeply with audiences who recognize the human condition in these layered expressions. Culturally, attitudes towards anger vary significantly. Some societies view anger as a dangerous or undesirable emotion that must be suppressed, while others consider it a legitimate response to injustice. This dichotomy influences how individuals experience and express anger, affecting its timing, intensity, and societal acceptance. For performers, understanding these cultural nuances is crucial in portraying anger authentically across different contexts and characters. Psychologically, anger can be classified into different types: passive, reactive, explosive, and resentful. Passive anger involves suppression, leading to internal stress and emotional buildup. Reactive anger is a knee-jerk response to immediate provocation, often impulsive and intense. Explosive anger manifests as outbursts or violence, while resentful anger lingers over perceived injustices, simmering beneath the surface. Recognizing these types can help performers choose appropriate expressions that reflect the character's psychological state. Furthermore, anger's physiological effects are profound. It triggers an adrenaline rush, increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and muscle tension. This physical arousal can be harnessed by performers to deliver performances with visceral intensity or subtlety, depending on the scene's demands. Learning how to control and channel this physiological energy without being overwhelmed is key to portraying anger convincingly. Importantly, anger is often intertwined with morality, either as a righteous indignation or destructive fury. A character's moral stance often shapes how their anger is perceived by others. For example, a hero's anger at injustice can inspire admiration, while a villain's wrath may evoke fear or contempt. Understanding this moral dimension adds another layer of complexity that enriches the actor's craft. Lastly, acceptance of anger's complexity involves recognizing its role as a normal, valid human emotion. Suppressing anger entirely can be harmful and unrealistic. Instead, understanding its roots, expressions, and effects enables a more honest, compelling portrayal. When an actor respects the depth of anger, acknowledging its physicality, its masking of other feelings, and its moral significance, they can channel it effectively to evoke empathy and insight in their audience. In conclusion, anger's depth and complexity are essential for authentic human expression. By exploring its nuanced layers, intensity, underlying feelings, cultural influences, physiological reactions, and moral implications, performers can craft performances that resonate with truth, vulnerability, and power. Mastery over the intricate nature of anger transforms it from a stereotype into a profound instrument of storytelling, allowing us to confront the universal truths of the human experience. Techniques for accessing and expressing anger are incredible. I don't care what technique you need to use, but pick one that works for you that will activate your emotion. Don't be afraid of following a guru's technique, just to stop your own growth and exploration. You deserve better than that. Anger is a potent and raw human emotion that, when accessed and expressed authentically, can profoundly enhance acting and musical performances. However, Bringing forth anger convincingly requires discipline, awareness, and technique. Acting isn't about uncontrolled outbursts. It's about channeling the energy and truth behind the emotion in a controlled, authentic way. Here are essential techniques performers use to access and express anger effectively. 1. Emotional recall and personal memory. One of the foundational techniques for accessing anger is emotional recall, rooted in Stanislavski's method. Actors remember a personal experience or situation that made them feel angry. By vividly recalling the circumstances, what they saw, heard, felt, they can reconnect with that emotional energy. How to do it? Close your eyes and recall a moment when you felt deeply wronged or frustrated. Remember the details, the sights, sounds, sensations, and thoughts. Focus on the physical sensations, clenched fists, tensed muscles, or a racing heart, and allow these to surface. Use these sensations to fuel your scene, transforming personal memory into genuine emotional expression. 2. Physical grounding and the body's power. Anger is often felt physically as much as emotionally. It's a burst of energy in the body. Actors can engage in physical grounding exercises to access this energy. Techniques include stomping or stamping. Ground yourself physically by stamping your feet forcefully, creating a sense of weight and power. Clenching fists. Focus on contracting muscles to generate tension that mirrors anger's intensity. Deep breathing with tension. Rapid, shallow breaths coupled with physical tension can simulate the heightened physical state anger induces. Why it works? Physicality bridges the mind-body connection. By physically embodying anger, performers can feel more visceral and convincing during their delivery. 3. Breath control and voice techniques. Breath is a powerful tool in expressing anger. When controlled deliberately, it can help actors regulate and project their emotion with clarity. Techniques include rapid, shallow breathing, mimics the heightened arousal of anger and triggers related physical sensations. Forced exhalations, speaking or shouting with forceful, quick bursts of airflow adds intensity. Voice cracking or growling. Use vocal distortions or vocal fry to produce a gritty, aggressive tone. Why it's effective? Controlling your breath and voice ensures that the anger feels authentic rather than over the top or forced. 4. Inner monologue and subtext. Sometimes anger is a masked or internalized feeling. Using subtext, unspoken thoughts, helps actors tap into suppressed rage. How to practice? Write or think about the thoughts your character might be secretly harboring during an angry moment. Express these thoughts aloud or through physical actions without explicitly stating them. Internalize the emotion while controlling outward expressions, building tension and authenticity. 5. Rehearsal with triggers and stimuli. Create safe, simulated triggers to evoke anger during practice. Methods. Use provocative words or scenarios to incite anger within a controlled environment. Reenact conflicts or confrontations that mirror the scene's emotional core. Focus on how these triggers make the body and mind react, then gradually escalate intensity. Benefit. This method trains you to access anger on demand, not just in the scene, but at any time during performance. 6. Using environment and atmosphere. Sometimes, external stimuli or environment cues can help bring out anger. Examples. Imagining a personal injustice or injustice happening to someone you care about. Visualizing confrontational settings like a heated argument or breaking point. Tapping into real-world issues or societal frustrations that resonate deeply. Outcome. Harnessing environment builds emotional context, making anger feel organic rather than artificial. 7. Physical action and dynamics. Expressing anger dynamically through physical action can heighten believability. Key techniques. Aggressive gestures, throwing objects, slamming doors, or shaking fists. Blocking and movement, moving assertively toward or away from others to signify escalation or withdrawal. Vocal pacing, speaking faster, louder, and with greater force as scenes intensify. Purpose. Physical actions amplify emotional expressions, helping performers release pent-up energy convincingly. Channeling anger as a catalyst for transformation and power is what you learn once you become a real artist. Yes, this means being a real artist, actor, and musician. A real musician will feel the emotions, not just sing the tune in tune. Anger, often perceived as a destructive force, is actually one of the most potent emotional energies at a performer's disposal. When harnessed intentionally and skillfully, anger can serve as a radical catalyst for transformation, empowerment, and authentic expression. Contrary to the tendency to suppress or fear this emotion, performers, whether in acting, music, or dance, can learn to channel anger into a source of creative force that elevates their craft and deeply resonates with audiences. The power of anger in transformation. At its core, anger is an emotion rooted in the desire for change, whether it stems from injustice, betrayal, frustration, or personal limitation. When actors tap into this feeling, they ignite a transformative process within themselves. It's akin to an internal combustion that, when controlled, propels character arcs forward and reveals authentic truth. For instance, a character's rage at societal oppression can evolve into a fierce, compelling call for justice. This emotional release is not simply an act of venting. It's a profound act of self-actualization, turning internal pain into outward power. An actor who embraces this transformation can depict complexities such as moral outrage, righteous indignation, or inner turmoil with visceral clarity and depth. Anger as a source of power. Channeling anger provides performers with raw energy, a force that can electrify performances and captivate audiences. When used effectively, anger becomes a dynamic force that shapes physicality, vocal intensity, and emotional honesty. Think of powerful monologues or choreographed movements where anger becomes a physical force, raising fists, shouting, or aggressive movement that embodies force, conviction, and resilience. This power is not about uncontrolled rage, but about focused intensity. When an actor learns to focus their anger on a specific goal, such as fighting injustice, confronting a fear, or breaking free from constraints, they turn raw emotion into a tool for change. It becomes a driving force for characters seeking liberation or asserting their truth. The journey from rage to resolution. The true mastery lies in channeling anger in a way that propels the actor beyond the rage itself toward growth and resolution. At its most powerful, anger can serve as a transformational energy that leads to self-awareness, assertiveness. Remember, use the emotionalpreparation.com as your resource. Actors can use this emotion of anger as a starting point, fueling a character's journey from repression to liberation. For example, a scene where a protagonist confronts betrayal might initially be fueled by overwhelming rage. As the scene unfolds, the actor shifts from destructive anger to a focused assertion of integrity or a call for justice. This process transforms raw emotion into a catalyst for change, not only within the story, but within the performer's own artistic and emotional growth. Techniques for channeling anger into power. Effectively channeling anger requires discipline, awareness, and technique. Actors often employ physical and vocal methods to harness this energy without losing control. These may include physical grounding, anchoring anger physically through clenched fists, tense muscles, or assertive movements to create a tangible sense of power. Vocal intensity, using loud, forceful vocal delivery, shouting, or powerful speech to project anger outward and command attention. Focused intent, directing anger at a specific target or goal within the scene, transforming it from chaos into purpose. Breath control, using controlled, forceful breathing to sustain vocal power and physical energy. Emotion reflection, remembering a personal injustice or injustice witnessed to evoke genuine anger, which then fuels the performance. Channeling anger for personal and artistic growth. Beyond the scene, The process of channeling anger helps performers confront personal limitations and fears. It can serve as a source of empowerment, an internal strength that enables them to persevere through obstacles, break free from self-imposed limitations, and express their truth boldly. In the broader context, employing anger as a creative catalyst encourages authenticity and emotional honesty. It allows performers to portray characters with depth, empathy, and conviction, inspiring audiences to reflect on their own struggles and aspirations for change. Embracing the transformative power of anger. The key lies in understanding that anger, when controlled and directed, is not inherently destructive. It is a reservoir of power that, when unleashed with purpose and discipline, can catalyze incredible artistic and personal transformation. Master performers, whether actors, musicians, or dancers, know how to turn fiery emotion into a vehicle for growth, resilience, and power. When viewed as an ally rather than an enemy, anger becomes a transformative force, a catalyst for awakening, for breaking barriers, and for creating art that truly moves and transforms audiences. It is this mastery of emotion that turns anger from a fleeting moment into a lasting power, an essential tool for every artist committed to truth, passion, and change. The Emotion of Anger and How to Use It in Acting and Music by Simon Blake is a compelling exploration of one of the most powerful and complex human emotions, anger, and its vital role in performance art. In this insightful work, Blake emphasizes that anger, when understood and harnessed correctly, can serve as a catalyst for authentic expression, emotional depth, and transformative performance. At its core, Blake highlights that anger is often misunderstood or feared in acting and music. Many performers tend to suppress this emotion out of concern for losing control or appearing aggressive. However, Blake argues that anger, if approached with discipline and awareness, is an essential human response, rooted in themes of injustice, frustration, or moral outrage, that can be channeled into artful energy. It becomes a tool for characters and performers to evoke deep visceral reactions and create powerful, relatable performances. Blake provides practical techniques for accessing anger without overacting or losing emotional truth. These include emotional recall, physical grounding, vocal modulation, and focused intent. He stresses the importance of physical and vocal control, using deep breathing, grounded movement, and directed energy to express anger with authenticity. Furthermore, he advocates that performers should understand the layered nature of anger, which often masks underlying fears, shame, or unresolved trauma, enriching their portrayal with depth and nuance. Let's wrap up this topic with what we have learned together. The Emotion of Anger and How to Use It in Acting and Music by Simon Blake is a compelling exploration of one of the most powerful and complex human emotions, anger, and its vital role in performance art. In this insightful work, this emphasizes that anger, when understood and harnessed correctly, can serve as a catalyst for authentic expression, emotional depth, and transformative performance. At its core, highlighting that anger is often misunderstood or feared in acting and music. Many performers tend to suppress this emotion out of concern for losing control or appearing aggressive. However, I make the argument that anger, if approached with discipline and awareness, is an essential human response, rooted in themes of injustice, frustration, or moral outrage, that can be channeled into artful energy. It becomes a tool for actors, musicians, and performers to evoke deep visceral reactions and create powerful, relatable performances. These provides practical techniques for accessing anger without overacting or losing emotional truth. These include emotional recall, physical grounding, vocal modulation, and focused intent. He stresses the importance of physical and vocal control, using deep breathing, grounded movement, and directed energy to express anger with authenticity. Furthermore, he advocates that performers should understand the layered nature of anger, which often masks underlying fears, shame, or unresolved trauma, enriching their portrayal with depth and nuance. A key concept to explore is transforming anger from chaos into purpose, channeling the raw energy into a force for inner character development and personal growth. Whether in acting or music, anger can serve as a source of power, energizing scenes, motivating characters, and creating a cathartic experience for the audience. The mastery of anger allows performers to connect deeply with their material, to provoke emotional responses, and to break through internal barriers. This philosophy is further supported through my work on emotionalpreparation.com, a platform dedicated to helping performers develop emotional resilience and authenticity. The site offers resources, exercises, and guidance for connecting with and channeling difficult emotions like anger in a healthy and controlled manner. My approach emphasizes that emotional discipline, grounded in self-awareness, is crucial for transforming raw feelings into art. In addition to the insights in the book, I have authored a range of empowering titles on Amazon, focusing on emotional preparation and performance techniques. My books, such as Emotionally Yours and Reasons to Knock in Improv, my emotional preparation trilogy book series, provide practical methods for actors and musicians to harness their emotions, including anger, as tools for creativity and authenticity. These titles complement his teachings and serve as valuable resources for those committed to elevating their craft. In summary, the emotion of anger and how to use it in acting and music is an essential guide for performers seeking to deepen their emotional toolkit. It encourages embracing anger as a transformative force rather than a destructive one, empowering artists to deliver performances that are not only believable, but profoundly moving. By integrating techniques and philosophy, actors and musicians can unlock a new level of expressiveness, resilience, and power, making anger an enduring and valuable ally on their artistic journey.